All right, so I'll go over what happened this time. Man, I mean, don't get me wrong. On one, I'm glad you brought this to me. I love learning something new, like a challenge. And this one is different from virtually every other car on the planet with this cooling system and all. And it's been a fight, but I've learned a lot. And we'll probably be able to save a lot of people a lot of money and take on these jobs more now because of that. Yeah, as you know, you have to use this bleeder to bleed it out. And what I would keep watching to know when the air, because the air's got to be up here. You know, if it's somewhere else in the system, there's a whole bunch of other parts of the system. It's not going to come out of there at the moment once you turn everything off because you can't do it when it's on. That was one of the things I learned I did wrong. Can't bleed it when it's on. Water pump running will cause more air to be sucked in. I just watched temps of this and the one down there that I replaced, and usually they should be about 20 degrees different. If it started getting more than that, I knew that that meant that air was getting here and blocking it feeding, and to dispel the air. And it keeps getting better the more I do that. I've been able to idle it for hours while I'm doing that. Been able to run it pretty hard. It's getting much, much better. But after I had done that thing on, like I was talking about, taking it and really drove it hard, like sliding around, stuff like that, kind of having some fun. Just like I'd even told that friend of mine, if it's fixed, it should be able to even run wide open throttle. Now, sure, maybe on an older car it'd be bad, but on newer cars, they're designed to make sure you don't go too far into throttle, stuff like that. They're designed to make sure you can't just push them too much. So unless you're just doing something completely stupid that puts you off the road or something, you can't push them harder than what they're designed for. It did that great. Got it home, running, testing stuff, saw another air bubble come up, saw a little bit of an temperature change, got it out. But then it did seem like the tank was starting to rise because it was getting too hot, like it was going to overheat. But this time I was here at home and caught it, turned it off where that could happen. But then something started steaming. But see, usually once it would get overheating, this would be just pouring everywhere from getting so hot and pouring out that I couldn't see any other symptoms, couldn't see any other problems going on. This time when I shut it off, something started steaming, but it wasn't this. And that finally led me to it. I got to look at what is steaming. This hose that comes off it, yeah, right over here, it sits above the exhaust, and that's what it is. When this sneezes cooling everywhere, the exhaust burns it, and that's the steam. That's what happened this time. This started letting out cooling everywhere, and that just instantly told me, even if the car is getting too hot, none of the hoses should blow. So the fact that hose blew when things got a little too hot for it suggests that hose is also screwed. So yeah, we need to replace this connection in the system, and that should be it. And that's why I've kept getting air and have had to run the bleeder, whereas the bleeder thing does take a while. I had to run it longer than usual and wasn't figuring it out. It's just that guy. That one right there. He's destroyed. And that was even why I'd suggested, getting the hoses on the front replaced. That's probably what made the problem so bad when you had it. Multiple hoses worn out. Your top hose and your bottom hose looked pretty rough. They weren't forming to the connections well, anything. I don't know if you've had those replaced before or not. They may have been as old as the car. They look like they could have been factory. So yeah, after that kind of mileage, it'd definitely be out. But yeah, would seem this one is too. But yeah, it's a pretty simple fix. We can talk more about that when you wake up or when you get back in contact with me.